Hey, it's Laurence Bradford, and I'm going to be answering the question, how should I get started if I want to pursue software development? This particular question came from a girl who is a freshman in college, and she wants to study computer science, particularly software development. And she was asking me where she should get started. She said all she really knew right now was HTML, and she knew that didn't really matter with software development, and just wanted some insights. Side note, this girl on the screen is not the girl. This is actually a recent article I did where I interviewed. Her name is Frances, and her last name I'm going to butcher, Advincula perhaps, that's the name. She's actually a software engineer, and she studied computer science in college. She's also getting, I believe, a PhD or master's from Johns Hopkins right now. She was working at Accenture for a few years, and now she works for a startup, and she has does a lot of product development there. So I would definitely recommend checking out this article and some of the stuff she says. It's really great advice, but I actually want to focus on the bottom, where she gives some recommendations for tools that she thinks people should look into if they want to get into software development. One of the recommendations she gives is Udacity. And I personally have done a few Udacity courses, and I think that they're really fantastic. Unfortunately, the entire site is not free anymore like it used to be, and some classes cost money while others don't. However, if you look at their software engineering specific classes, they have a few that I think would be really good for someone who was more into software engineering and development, hence the name software engineering. They have some basic intro to computer science classes. I have actually done this one. For me, it was a struggle, but it's definitely doable. I did this. This was like one of the first things I did when I first learned to code. They also have some more advanced topics like intro to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and I know they have, maybe on this section, things with data science. So this is definitely a much more academic, more software-based kind of online learning platform. That would be in comparison to like Treehouse, which is more about web development. Another resource that Frances recommended was the Stanford Engineering Everywhere portal. And these are all free courses. MIT has one as well, MIT Open Coursera, I believe, and a few other universities. So this really would get you going on software engineering. And you may think, oh, engineering, that's not computers or software. But I actually, one of my good friends, she's now a software developer or software engineer, and she studied electrical engineering in college. So, you don't necessarily have to study computer science to do, software development or something like that. Frances also had a really good recommendation, and that was this book, Cracking the Coding Interview, 150 Programming Questions and Solutions. And she basically said, go through this book, which will help you prepare for a job, and see the things that they are asking, and then go learn that, because obviously that's important if it's in this book. She also mentioned the Head First series, specifically Head First into Java and C#. I'm not very familiar with this, however, I trust her judgment, so check out headfirstlabs.com if you're looking for some more books. Lastly, I want to mention Coursera. It's not something that Frances brought up. Coursera is free, but they do have some paid options, and they offer courses in a range of languages, range of topics, and it can be accessed anywhere around the world. I have taken 2 different courses with them in the past. Coursera is really good, kind of similar to the Stanford, MIT OpenCourseware, or Udacity, in that it's very academic based. So if that's the area you want to get into, the more academic stuff, the more by the book, formal, Coursera, Udacity, and any university program would be a great resource to look at. And Coursera, again, all of these language options, and you can choose so many different categories or disciplines. Here, software or computer science, software engineering. And I mean, look at all of these options that they have. You can even load more courses. They vary in level. They have beginner, they have intermediate, they have advanced. They take place at different colleges, so there's actually a professor teaching the course, which is similar, of course, to anything at a university itself. And this would be a really great primer for someone who just wants to get into programming. This is actually one of the things I did with Charles Severance, Programming for Everybody with Python. And if you really are starting at the bottom, that's a great one to check out. Lastly, before I head out, I just want to say that if you're a beginner, definitely keep an open mind about everything. When I first started learning how to code and program, I tried everything. You know, I could look back now and think maybe that wasn't the best decision. Maybe I should have stayed more focused. And in some ways, I probably should have. However, I got to dabble with all of these different types of things. And I got to really see what I liked and what I didn't like, probably more importantly. So when I eventually came across something that, and the things that I really enjoyed, you know, I knew it was for me because I had this other experience before to base it off of. So just keep an open mind, try different things, and it can get really discouraging, but if you're really having trouble with something, you really just don't like it, maybe it's a certain language or a certain framework, then honestly, I say just don't use it, because why should you do something if you're not enjoying it? If you're not having fun, if you're not feeling challenged in a good way, and you're getting, you know, upset and frustrated to a point where it's not, you know, positive, then just stop. Just stop doing it and maybe try something else. Maybe there's another type of technology out there, or, you know, language or framework that is, you know, better for you. I've had that experience, you know, so just keep that in mind.